Hi everyone. I hope you are gathering up. Let's give it about a minute to get everybody ready. Everybody switched on. Give me any emoji if you hear me well, if you see me well, if everything's fine with the streaming, because I'm not used to be doing this, so the feedback is very important. Kindly keep on giving it if you feel any issues. Also, whatever I'll be discussing with you and talking about, please feel free to send your questions. Feel free to give any comments. I'll see all of them in front of me, and I'll try to give you my replies and opinion probably by the end of the stream. And at the beginning, I'll just give you my insights and what I've managed to gather about Oman, about its advantages for companies and about its tax advantages, and why actually Oman is a good jurisdiction to start business here in the region. So let us slowly start. Probably a few words about Oman to begin with. As you know, or maybe don't know, because actually I'm surprised that some people don't know that Oman is a separate sovereign state. It's not another emirate of the UAE, or it's not an emirate which refused to join UAE in 1970s. It's a separate country, and actually it used to be a powerful empire back in the day. It was huge. The territory of Oman covered the whole eastern seaside of the Africa up to Madagascar. So it was very big, and it was a very important trade country. It had a lot of trade routes, and it was a marine empire. Long time ago. Right now, Oman is one of the GCC countries, Gulf Cooperation Council. Other countries which are the members, as you know, are Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, Kuwait, and Bahrain. Oman is the only GCC country which is not located at the Persian Gulf, or as we say here in the region, Arabian Gulf. That's actually facing, well, we may say Indian Ocean, because Oman has different sea routes and benefits because of that. Oman is governed by a sultan. It's an absolute monarchy. And right now, the current sultan is making a lot of steps and a lot of improvements in the country to make it better, to make it more attractive for foreign investors. Historically, when oil was found in Oman, it was found around 1970s. Of course, Oman became another petroleum dependent state. But definitely the current government understands that the country needs to diversify its economy, it needs to expand it, and following probably UAE's example, it needs to develop its tourism, its infrastructure for real estate, and probably improve the tax regime, which is actually doing quite successfully. So while Oman is opening up and it's opening its doors and borders, I mean, literally speaking, it's easier now to come to Oman as opposed to, let's say, 5-7 years ago, when you needed some visa, you needed some permission. If you held a UAE ID card, you could travel to Oman, but you needed to have a high designation in your ID. Otherwise, at the border, you wouldn't be let into the country. So right now, a lot of nationalities can enter Oman visa-free. They can stay there as tourists and enjoy the country. So while Oman is opening up, as you all know, overall in the region and in UAE in particular, more and more laws, regulations, and taxes are coming up. I've been in the UAE for 12 years, and I remember the time when you could open a company in 3-4 working days. You could go to the bank and open a bank account within 3 working days without hassle, without lots of documents, without any questions, and you could enjoy the country really a lot. Also, it wasn't really regulated. Nobody was asking anything. It was a pure offshore state. At least it seemed so, especially from the West, that UAE is just another offshore tax haven, and you can come here, do business, nobody asks you anything. Of course, UAE could not keep such position for a long time. It had pressure from the West for obvious reasons, because when a country attracts so many people, so much money, investments, a lot of powerful individuals, it simply cannot stay a non-regulated tax haven. So now the time came when UAE became heavily regulated, starting from corporate companies law, which is being changed and enhanced, ending up with corporate taxes. The latest is corporate profit tax, which a lot of companies will need to report in 2025, and the year of 2024, the current year, will become the first reporting year. So first corporate taxes UAE will be collecting in 2025. For some companies, actually, they are collecting already now, depending on your financial year. Corporate profit tax in UAE is 9%, and corporate profit tax is applicable to all UAE companies. It means that even if you have a free zone company, and even if you have an offshore company, you need to think about corporate profit tax. If you have an offshore, it doesn't mean you need to pay 9% tax, but you need to register with corporate tax authority. If you don't register on time, there's a penalty of 10,000 dirhams just for not registering there on time. Forget any reportings or any other obligations which will follow shortly for offshore companies. If you have a free zone, all your money, all your profits that you get at the end of your financial year will be reportable. You need to make a report, you need to see what are your profits, what are your losses, and to apply 9% profit tax on the profits. Again, I want to highlight, even for a free zone company. So free zone is not as much free anymore as it used to be. Apart from that, a lot of other laws and regulations came up. UBO declarations, economic substance regulations, name it. Of course, I can understand that a lot of people who came to UAE for freedom are not happy with that. And it's not just about paying the tax. A lot of people are happy to pay the tax. 9% is probably not a huge amount for lots of businesses. But people don't want to miss anything out. They don't want any hassle, because there are a lot of regulations which some investors and company owners are not aware about. But if the penalty comes, it comes for everyone. So it becomes more difficult from the point of view of administration to manage your UAE company, and definitely it becomes more expensive because you need to hire lawyers, advisors, accountants, whoever else to manage your company. And for many clients, for many people, it simply becomes non-profitable anymore. So I'm observing that a lot of people are looking for alternatives. What to do, where to go, which jurisdiction to choose. It has to be a reputable jurisdiction, but at the same time with some incentives to run the business. And what I managed to discover that among all the countries in the GCC, Oman is the one who, as I mentioned before, first of all, opens its borders. Secondly, implements new incentives and new laws to attract people from other countries to Oman, which makes sense. The country doesn't want to depend on petroleum anymore. It wants to diversify its economy, which is totally correct. So right now in Oman, we have a few free zones, basically 3 free zones and a couple of special economic zones, which give you a tax-free incentives, which means that you can run a company in Oman without any tax, because the free zone grants you 30 years, or maybe some zones it would be 25 years or 15 years, tax-free period. What you need to do, you need to set up a company in Oman, and this rule will apply to you if your company is in a free zone automatically. As for VAT, same rule as in UAE applies. If you do the business not in Oman, but abroad, so it will be considered as export of services or export of goods. Again, the VAT will be 0, which right now becomes almost unprecedented case here in the region, because all the countries in the GCC, even if they have free zones, they still do have taxes in the free zones. However, Oman is the only one which doesn't. So it gives great flexibility to those people who have been doing business in the UAE for a long time and who want to probably optimize a little bit either administrative burden or the taxes, or even both. Another great advantages which I discovered in Oman are banking and relaxed compliance, I would put it this way. Again, if we compare it with UAE, as you know, UAE banks are becoming quite tough. It's difficult to open a bank account. It takes a lot of time, requires a lot of documents, a lot of efforts. Sometimes I can see that people simply cannot provide the documents which are being asked by the bank. It's very difficult for startups or freelancers, because when you come to the bank in UAE, the first thing the bank will ask is proof of funds, where you got your money from. If you didn't have a business before, if you didn't have a high salary before, you probably did some freelance job or you have some savings, it's very difficult to prove to UAE bank that you are a legitimate business and you will be making profits, because the bank is only looking for the profits. And then another pile of documents which are difficult to produce sometimes. This whole story just discourages businessmen to do business in the UAE. They don't want to bother anymore. So what I realized when I started working with Oman is that Omani banks are much more loyal, I would say, and relaxed. When you open a company, you take your corporate documents, you come to the bank, and the bank won't ask you almost anything else. The only things that you need to provide would be your corporate documents, of course, your passport copy, Omani ID card, which will follow your company setup after you registered it, and a few words about your business, a few projections about turnovers and the countries from where and to which you are going to send the money. So I would say Oman reminds me UAE about 15 years ago or so, or maybe even 20 years ago. And actually people in Oman are also very nice, very open, very kind, always helpful, and ready to support you. Because I'm noticing that UAE banks, UAE service providers, and even the free zones are becoming probably spoiled in a way. They don't really want to support every single person who comes, because they've had too much, probably already. Whereas Oman is just starting to open up. They are just starting to welcome foreign investors and foreign businessmen, and they are genuinely happy to help. So I find personally this nation Omanis to be one of the most helpful and nice nations in the region. But okay, probably that's lyrics and it's just my opinion, but the facts remain the facts. If you open a company in a free zone in Oman, that would be tax-free. You go to the bank will not ask you 100 of compliance questions, and they will manage to open a corporate account within 3 to 7 working days, which is just unbelievable in today's world. As you all know, UAE bank account opening takes 1 month if you're lucky, if everything went well, and if you provided all documents from the start. But it can stretch into 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, name it, depending on the bank and depending what they want from you. So Omani banks, 3 to 7 working days, your account is up and running. You have online banking, you have mobile application, you have a manager who would actually pick up a call when you call him or answer your WhatsApp or email, whatever it is. Plus, the bank will not ask you for a huge deposit. We are used to the fact that in UAE, after account opening, the bank is requesting for so-called minimum deposit, which should appear at your account, preferably in a month or 2 months' time. If you don't deposit anything, the banker will simply be quite unhappy and most likely not helpful anymore. So in Oman, when you open a corporate account, unless you go to VIP premium option, if you go into a normal option, the banks will not ask you to sell your kidney and deposit the money. The banks will probably ask to deposit $5,000 to $10,000 maximum, even less than that, to be honest, as a minimum deposit. That's it. So 3 to 7 working days, $5,000, account is up and running. Another great thing is that the banks in Oman would open your account in multiple currencies straight away. Multiple currencies would include, of course, Omani Rial. By the way, Omani Rial is one of the strongest currencies in the world, not just in the region, but in the world. If you see the exchange rate, one Omani Rial is approximately 2.6 USD, which is quite impressive, I would say. So you would get Omani Rial, which is linked to USD, by the way, same as Emirati Dirham is linked to USD. You will get AED account, you will get Euro, you will get Dollar, you will get Chinese Yuan, you can even get Swiss franc or Great Britain pounds. It's not a problem as well, and they can open it for you all instantly. You don't need to open in Omani Rials and then wait for 2-3 months, do some transactions, lose some money on currency conversion, and then maybe the bank will open another currency for you, as it usually happens here. So in Oman, they are easier in this way. They open for you multiple currencies straight away, and you work without limitations. Without limitations, I mean that a company in Oman can receive money from all over the world. Oman has special free trade agreements with US and with Singapore, but even not speaking about any free trade agreements, you can receive and send money from anywhere, almost to anywhere. I've tried that. I've done a lot of transactions, including transactions to and from CIS, which is quite complicated now here in the region, and not all the banks and not all countries would support that. So I tried CIS, which worked very well. I tried Europe, receiving and sending. I tried China, receiving and sending, and everything works pretty well so far. By pretty well, I also mean that when you make a bank transfer, a bank doesn't ask you any questions about your transfers, as it normally happens in many countries, including UAE. So I just log in into my online banking, I send the money anywhere I need, and so far, I haven't had any questions from the bank, like give me the invoice, give me the contract, what this payment was about, and all that. I like actually to test everything that I offer to my clients myself. So this is why I opened the company in Oman by myself in one of the free zones there. It was a free zone in the city of Salalah in the south of Oman. I did that. I got the Omani ID card. Then I opened my bank accounts, and I've been testing the whole thing for quite a few months already. We may say like half year, in order to check whether it's a workable solution or it's a not workable solution. And it proved to be a really good workable solution, and I really enjoy the way the banking works, the way the people are, the fact that I can get tax benefits and I can optimize my business a bit. Some people, speaking about optimizing, want just to give up UAE completely. They want to close their company here and they want to open in Oman instead, which is one way. Another way could be maybe to combine two different companies, one in UAE, one in Oman, and create some sort of synergy between them, again, to optimize your financial streams, your businesses, especially if you do business with certain countries that are not so much favored by the UAE or any other jurisdictions. I know that you will be having some questions. Please go ahead and send them to me. I'm already checking. I can see one question is there. Shortly, we will get down to them and I'll answer all of them for you, and we can have a good discussion actually about the things that are of interest for you. So what else I wanted to mention is that, I probably mentioned that already, but just to outline it again, that it's very easy to manage your company in Oman, even if you are not physically there. Yes, you need to get Omani ID card, you need to get a local SIM card in order to connect your bank account with a SIM card, because you will be getting your OTPs to your phone number. But it's very easy, it doesn't require a lot of time. In Oman, you don't need to do any blood tests or X-rays in order to receive the investor status and investor ID card. And it's literally issued within 2 hours. So you can come to Oman, you go to Royal Omani Police, you do your pictures, do your fingerprints and all necessary procedures, definitely accompanied by someone from our side, and you get your card instantly. And with the card, you can go to the banks, 1, 2, or 3 of your choice, and open your bank accounts. Then there is no requirement to come to Oman regularly to maintain your status. Because in UAE, you need to come every 6 months if your designation is a manager or any type of employee. And you need to come 1 time per year if you are an investor. In Oman, you get the ID and you forget about coming to Oman for the next 2 years, because the ID is valid for 2 years. So basically, you go there, you finish everything, you go out, no need to come back anymore. Well, the only reason maybe to come back would be another nice fact about Oman, that it's actually a very, very beautiful country. And I would say it's a hidden gem in the region, because it used to be closed for quite a long time and nobody really knew what's in there. So now people are just starting to discover this wonderful place, and it's really amazing. Its sea is just something. Probably in some places it's same as in Maldives, but it's cheaper to go to Oman than to Maldives, and it's very near. It's only 1 hour flight from Dubai to Muscat, or 1.5 hours from Dubai to Salalah. So you have dolphins, turtles, whales, coral reefs, just beautiful, beautiful ocean over there. Oman opened up a lot of areas where foreigners can buy real estate. and it's another plus point. The real estate market of Oman is growing now, and it's just starting to grow. So right now, it's the best time to invest because you have a bigger chance to get appreciation of your capital. They have a lot of zones for foreigners where you can buy as an expat and own your property 100%. It's the same concept as freehold concept in the UAE, but they have less zones, they have less developers, probably 5 or 6 developers only, and there are not so many projects. The projects do not come out like mushrooms after the rain. They are quite limited, and from what I can see, the demand is actually increasing, it's growing, which will give you more chances of getting good ROI, return of investment, good capital appreciation, or maybe you don't want to sell or to rent, you want to use the property by yourself, which is perfect because Oman is a great holiday destination. Muscat has beautiful mountains, culture, seaside. Salalah is another wonder because in summer it has rain season, they call it Harif. So during Harif, from June to September, it rains there. And the weather is much better than elsewhere in the region. So let's say when in Dubai we're having plus 50 in summertime, in Salalah it would be plus 29 probably. The sky will be covered by the clouds, you will have rain, and you can just enjoy yourself. So that's what actually all people in the region do in summertime. They go to Salalah for holidays. This is why this is a destination of full year, 12 months per year. You can go to Muscat, Salalah, generally to Oman, and enjoy yourself there. And cherry on the pie is the fact that it's tax-free, which for me, I think is one of the most helpful solutions at this complicated and turbulent time, I would put it this way. So maybe now let's have a look at a few questions which I've received. Yeah, there are quite a lot. Yeah, so first one, from Steven, I have a question. Can an employee run their own business meanwhile him/her is still employee of another company? To have 2 Emirates ID. Well, 2 Emirates ID you cannot have because in UAE, your ID, your identity document can be only one if you speak about UAE. But if you work in UAE and at the same time you open a company in Oman and you get Omani ID, yes, that's possible because we are speaking about 2 different countries. Again, if we come back to UAE, you can work somewhere and you can open a business. That's allowed. No problem. You can open 10 businesses and work somewhere at the same time. You can work in 2 companies, in 3 companies at the same time. Now it's also allowed. But your ID will remain only one. So you'll have to choose from which company or how you want to get your ID card. I hope I answered the question. If you meant something different, just go ahead and text it for me, okay? And I'll see it and I'll give my further comments. Okay, one more question. Is there a long-term visa available and does citizenship of the applicant matter? Well, long-term visa can be arranged if you buy property. You can get a golden visa, which can be valid up to 10 years, but then the property needs to be more expensive. Actually, in Oman, if you speak about visas under the property, even with the cheapest unit, you can get a 2-year visa, then the next level will be a more expensive unit and the 5-year visa, and then a 10-year visa. But if you open a company and you get a visa of investor of a company, that would always be 2 years, but renewable. So you renew your company and then you renew your visa and your ID every 2 years. That's not a problem. Speaking about citizenship, well, I would say that right now, in my experience, if you have Israeli passport, you cannot get Omani ID. Also, there are some problems for Nigerian passport holders, but let's see, because this is something that's always changing. I mean, for Israel, it probably won't change, because in all the GCC union, only UAE has become a friend of Israel. But Oman, of course, did not. However, about other countries, even if a certain country falls into a high-risk nationalities list right now, maybe after some time it will be removed from that list. So we need to watch that. Maybe you can mention nationality that you mean for me, and I'll check out for you. Okay, Pavel, can I become investor without having property in Oman? Yes, Pavel, you can become an investor without property in Oman. You can open a business in Oman. You can open a company. And based on company ownership, you get an investor visa for 2 years. That's what I did, by the way. Okay, Anton. Hi, Anton. How are you? What is the average cost of maintaining the company in terms of renewals and okay, the fees? Yes, let's actually talk about the fees because it's quite interesting compared to the UAE. In Oman, in all the free zones, same as in UAE, when you open a company, you need to rent a flexi desk at least. Flexi desk is like a desk in a shared office, which is assigned to your company for a year or 2 years or whatever it is. So if in UAE you can rent the flexi desk and open a company for a year, so you pay for 1 year only, in Oman you need to pay 3 years upfront for the flexi desk lease, which makes the initial cost probably a bit higher. But if you actually divide the cost into 3, it becomes pretty much, comparable to the UAE. Let's say right now the package that we have for Salalah free zone company setup with Omani ID and with bank account in Oman would cost you $27,000 for 3 years, which is $9,000 per year. And that's only initial 3 years, because when you renew your company after 3 years, it will actually be cheaper because first of all, you don't have any expenses for bank account opening anymore and any extra support, because everything was done from the start. Secondly, the free zone charges you some initial so-called one-time fees for the registration of your company. It's their administrative cost. And it applies only once when you set up the company. So basically, after 3 years, when you pay for the next slot of 3 years, you would be paying somewhat around $15,000, which is like $5,000 per year. That's pretty impressive, remembering the fact that you don't pay tax over there. Okay, the next one, Rahmatullah, if I open a company in Oman with your help, can you manage all services related to the company setup, account, etc.? Yeah, I think I've just answered that. Definitely, we do support everything from A to Z. We have our people in Oman, we have a team in Muscat, we have a team in Salalah. So definitely you will get support from the moment you land in Oman airport. And definitely maintenance as well. Speaking about maintenance, you would probably want to do some bookkeeping, even though you don't pay tax, but still it's better to do some kind of books and accounts. We can support you with that. We can support you with any other additional services, maybe extra visas, documents, legalization, whatever you require in the territory of Oman. Yeah, and I replied about renewal cost as well, I believe. Abid, how much is the total cost of company establishment? That's I replied, and the annual charges. Asking, hi, asking, how are you? So, is the offshore companies in the UAE, when they are going to register for the corporate tax, is this law come up with the offshore? Not yet. Yeah, I understood what you mean. You are waiting for the UAE tax authority to come up with a law regarding tax for offshore companies. They haven't published anything yet, but you need to register your offshore companies in UAE with Federal Tax Authority. So you will get a certificate of tax registration. However, we still don't know what to do next with the certificate. Whether you need to maybe submit any reports on annual basis or what exactly they will come up with. We don't know. We are actually eagerly waiting. It's very, very interesting for us also. It's a hot topic. So right now, just remember to register and wait for further news. Okay. What about permanent establishment rules? Can a person reside in UAE and operate a business in Oman? Can you also talk about personal bank accounts and requirements there? Yes, definitely you can live in UAE and you can have a company in Oman and you can operate that company. That's what I do personally. I have a company in Oman, I live in UAE, I go to Oman just sometimes for, maybe 1 day or 2 days if I need something, but I never stay there long. That's allowed. There is nothing contradictory to the laws of either of the countries. I mean, having 2 IDs, but living only in one place, because Oman doesn't require you as Omani investor, because that's your designation. If you open a company, Oman doesn't require you to live there. You can just get your card and go. Speaking about personal accounts, yes, normally we actually support opening of personal accounts together with corporate accounts. So when you go to the bank, you apply for 2 accounts. Your personal account, if you are a holder of Omani ID card, gets opened almost instantly, I would say. Maybe in a few hours maximum. That's very fast. You will get a card, debit card for your personal account. Actually, for the corporate account as well, you will get a debit card, which you can use worldwide, including UAE. The card is, by the way, is going to be in Omani Riyals. Yeah, same rule works in UAE. In UAE, you get a card which will be in dirhams. You cannot get a card in dollars, euros, or whatever. So in Oman, it's the same. You get a card in Omani Riyals. That's pretty fine, considering that Omani Riyal is linked to USD, so it's quite stable. David, would you elaborate on transfer of the existing UAE FZC to Oman? Yeah, if you want to do redomiciliation to Oman, well, I would say that right now, in my understanding and in my experience with Oman so far, that won't really work well, because Oman free zones are still new, dealing with international investors, dealing with expats, and sometimes I can see that the people there are not really aware of certain rules and certain things that probably in theory can be done, but in practice it will be really, really hard. I mean, even in the UAE, if you do redom of a company, you can efficiently implement it only in 2 jurisdictions, which is DMCC and REC ICC. Forget about others. So when we talk about Oman, I would say it's more efficient just to open a company there from scratch, to open a bank account for it and start using it. It will be just faster. Company setup takes probably about 2 weeks, then your visa will take around 1 week, then you go to Oman for 1, maximum 2 working days to get your ID and to apply for bank account, and then your account will be ready in 3 to 7 working days, as I said before. So let's say in a month's time, you'll have everything. Whereas when we're speaking about a redom, which is a more complex procedure, I would say even if we managed to get this solution from Omani free zone, it will take 2-3 months, not less than that. 10-year golden visa in Oman, what sort of investment? It would be equal of 10 million dirhams. Actually, if we speak about visas under property in Oman, the easiest is just to get the cheapest property and a 2-year visa. But this visa, as they say in Oman, it's lifelong, because as long as you keep the property, you can renew the visa. So nobody's going to say after 2 years, no, your visa is not valid anymore, goodbye. Because if you hold your property, you keep on renewing the visa, that's it. Because for 10 years golden visa, you need to make quite a substantial investment. Not everybody really wants to do that, just to get a 10-year residency card instead of 2 years. But that's possible as an option. Is it true that you get tax exemption certificate immediately after the company is opened? Not really immediately. Actually, speaking about Oman Tax Authority as a government body, what I've noticed is that it's trying to implement its own new laws and rules and to educate all the government bodies, including the free zones, simply about how the tax works. Because it seems that a lot of government officials, a lot of businesses in Oman are either not fully aware of how it should work, how reporting should be done, or they just don't want to be aware because it wasn't really enforced. In UAE, we can see quite heavy enforcement of any law or regulation that's implemented in UAE. In Oman, it's taking a bit more time, and what I can see, the Oman Tax Authority is still starting with the basics. So when you open your company, automatically you don't get tax exemption, but at the same time, you need to check whether you actually need to register for a tax or not register for a tax. Because speaking about VAT, you need to reach certain turnover threshold, same as in UAE. If you don't reach threshold, you don't even need to apply for VAT. And speaking about corporate profit tax, I know that some fresh clarifications are being prepared right now from Oman Tax Authority to the free zones and to the companies on how and what steps you need to take in order to receive the exemption certificate. But the incentive is there, it's published officially, you can even find it online at any official governmental website of a free zone, because all free zones in Oman are governmental and they are administered by one authority. So everything is actually centralized pretty much, and I think we will have more exact guidance very soon. Is there a SFO, single family office? Not in a free zone. A single family office would probably need to be registered in mainland, and depending on what exactly is done, maybe you will need to get additional approvals, so it could be a regulated one. But in a free zone, there is no activity of a single family office. Actually, speaking about activities, in Oman free zones, they don't have such huge lists of activities as we are used to having in the UAE. So the activity list is much shorter and it's kind of more basic, but at the same time, what you get from a free zone on your license probably, I don't want to say it doesn't matter, but for the bank, it wouldn't matter everything, because the bank will still ask you, okay, what are you actually going to do? So what will be important is what you explain to the bank and what the banker will keep in his system as your KYC. So when I came, the banker asked me, okay, what your company is going to do. I have a brokerage and agency license there. I told him, yes, I will do brokerage agency, probably a bit of marketing services sometimes, and I might even do some trading as part of my brokerage activity. And this answer satisfied the bank pretty well. And I've tried already all these types of transactions. So I tried receiving money for marketing, even for exhibition organizing, agency services, brokerage, and even some goods. And all of that worked, even though my license is a little bit different. But as I said, since the bank keeps my KYC in the system, they understand that my real activity matches my KYC. It seems they are fine with it. And so far, I haven't had any questions from them regarding either any transaction, either incoming or outgoing. So everything so far is fine. What reporting or compliance requirements exist for tax-free businesses in Oman? Well, if we speak about reporting or compliance, let's divide tax reporting and bank reporting and compliance. So about the bank, I think I explained already that they are not really running after you too much. Let's put it this way. So you are doing your business as long as you are reasonable. You explained everything at the branch, at the account opening. The banker is satisfied with your explanation. You're good to go. Speaking about taxes, well, if you reach certain thresholds, as I also said, for VAT, 380. 5,000 dirhams it would be. It's 38,500 Omani riyals. You would need to register, but you would still do zero reporting because your business is outside of Oman. And the same most likely will apply for corporate profit tax, but we are waiting for some clarifications. Okay, Zoya, can I open bank account remotely or personal visit is obligatory? Well, see, there used to be some dodgy schemes of remote account opening in Oman, but it seems they don't really work anymore. So yes, you need to come personally. And again, if you open a company, you still need to come personally in order to get your Omani ID card. Once you get the ID card, it's like a green light to any bank. You go to any Oman bank, you open your personal account, and corporate account is pretty much straightforward as well. When you speak about personal accounts, you can even open them online. So when you have Omani ID card, you can download the app of any bank and you can open your account even digitally. But for corporate account, it's better to make a personal visit because you need to meet the bank representative. You need to sign the forms physically, actually, but also very important, you need to explain to him what your company is going to do, what type of business you are going to carry out, right? If you're on your own business visa, a consultant, can you apply for local jobs? You mean in the UAE or in Oman? So if you have a company in Oman and you get an investor visa and you want to get a job in a local company, most probably that company will sign some type of agreement with you, allowing you to keep your own visa and ID and working for them and getting salary from them. Same works in UAE. If you have your visa in one company, or I don't know, husband visa or golden visa, but you want to get extra job, yes, it's not a problem. That's allowed by the labor law. Are there any real estate projects in Salalah that you know of where foreigners can purchase? Yes, definitely. In Salalah, there is an amazing, very, very big project. It's called Hawana Salalah. It's right on the ocean, so you have huge private beach, you have white sand, palms, turquoise water. You have a lot of facilities there because it's already operational community. So you have a few hotels, shops, kids facilities, marina, water canals, and you can buy a villa or a twin villa, which is like a townhouse over there. Salalah is actually a good destination for doing property business because you can rent your unit any time of the year. And summertime, when everything is dead in the region because it's too hot and everyone leaves, actually a lot of people go to Salalah. So in summertime, it's a peak season and you make most money over there in Harif from June to September. Is it true that freehold properties is lifetime residency in Oman and no minimum stay? Well, it's true, but by lifetime, they mean that your ID will be valid at least for 2 years. So every 2 years, you just renew your ID card again and again, as long as you hold the property. So that's what is meant when they say lifetime visa, yeah? So technically it's 2 years, and then every 2 years you keep on renewing. No minimum, yes, and no minimum stay, this is true. For investors, Oman doesn't require any minimum stay. You can make your ID, leave, and come back after 2 years to renew it, that's it. Does property-based visa allow you to work in Oman? Well, if you want to sign a contract with a private company, I don't see any obstacle. Because yes, you have a visa, yes, you're a resident, and you are doing some extra work for them. They sign a contract with you, and you're good to go. Not a problem. How worse or better is the bank system there compared to UAE online application, etc.? They private banking. What is the amount of funds in this case? Yes, Anton, they do private banking. See, we are talking about entry to the private bank in about $1 million entry level, and then yeah, you will be a golden client. Speaking about applications and all, actually they're quite good. I'm really satisfied, and sometimes I feel I'm more impressed than in the UAE. The bank I'm using right now is Sohar. Sohar International, you can Google it if you want. It's one of the leading banks in Oman. It merged with HSBC Oman recently, so it's one of the strongest banking institutions there. Application is very customer friendly and easy. Online banking is also super nice and easy. Certain features are even better than in UAE, like I don't need to wait long time when I add beneficiary, for example. It's added instantly. Actually, transfers sometimes reach certain destinations faster, especially when we speak about China, because from UAE to China, next to impossible, I would say. So far I'm happy, and there are other good banks as well. National Bank of Qatar, for example, it's also another good one. They have FAB in Oman as well, which is First Abu Dhabi Bank. So they have a branch in Oman, which is a separate bank actually. Yeah, it's not like a rep office of UAE one. It's licensed by Oman Central Bank as a normal banking institution. So FAB, everybody's aware, they have good service, pretty friendly applications, and online banking as well. Can I set up company in free zone for crypto trading? Well, crypto trading as business activity in Oman does not exist as well as in UAE. And you know that crypto regulations generally here in the region are very fresh. Yes, we can see that governments are coming up with regulations. Virtual asset regulations were renewed recently in the UAE, for example. So yes, somehow the countries are trying to make certain steps towards this way, but you cannot open a company with this business activity yet. However, well, if you want, you can contact our team. By the way, if you have any personal requests or questions, in the description you'll see all the links, and you'll find all contact details to get in touch with our team. So maybe when we know your request with more details, you explain it to us better, we can find a solution that would be helpful. But straightforward license for crypto trading in Oman, no, they don't have that. But again, depends what you do exactly. Because a lot of people say, I'm into crypto, but what exactly do you do? Are you a crypto exchange, or you just do P2P transactions from time to time, or what exactly? If you explain to us, we can guide you further, I think. Is it true that for 250,000 Omani Riyal in government bond, one can get a 5-year golden visa? Well, it's true that for $1 million investment in a bank, you can get a golden visa in Oman. I will check for you if you want about government bonds, because so far I haven't done that. But yes, there are visas based on your bank deposits. So it can be a term deposit, or it can be any bond that you buy through a bank in Oman. But the amount they want you to invest is $1 million. And speaking about term deposits, the interest rate is a bit less than what you get in UAE. That's around 4%. In UAE, you can get maybe 5.5 even in certain banks. But yes, if you need a visa, then maybe it's another way for you to obtain it. Carlos, is there withholding tax in Oman for payments done to UAE companies for services? Yes, there is a withholding tax, which is 10%. So for example, if a foreign company does any service for you and you pay for this service from Oman, you actually need to apply this withholding tax. But if you work between Oman and UAE and you combine these two jurisdictions and you have your company in both places, then you can actually optimize the tax, because if you paid certain tax in Oman, it means that you can deduct this here in the UAE. So you can actually use these two jurisdictions' tax laws together in synergy in order to optimize. But yes, withholding tax is there. But what I'm noticing actually in practice, to be honest, when I'm being paid, for example, as a property broker by certain developers in Oman, some of them who are governmental owned, who are stable and who are quite old, they would implement, yes, withholding tax. They definitely will go by the book. But the smaller ones, sometimes I can see they just, pay without applying it, and they seem to be fine with it. As I said, a few minutes back, that in Oman, it seems that the tax authority is right now probably even struggling a bit, because they are trying to teach everyone about taxes, what kind of taxes they need to apply, how they need to report, what they need to pay, etc., etc. And apart from free zones, which we are focusing on, there are mainland companies. And for mainland companies, actually, there are much more taxes. There is profit tax of 15%. There are some taxes on salaries that you need to pay, like, social security and all that. It's not like in the UAE. And actually, this is the biggest difference between Oman and UAE in the international arena. Because when you speak about UAE, it used to be like a gray offshore heaven. Oman has never been there. Oman has always been a strong and stable country. It has never fallen into any blacklists or gray lists. I think also due to the fact that it had its tax system developed since a long time ago for mainland companies. And right now, the free zones are offering tax-free incentive as a novelty. They never had such incentives before. They never had this zero tax benefit before. And this is why even tax authorities sometimes, it's funny, but sometimes they don't know how to answer the questions, because Oman Tax Authority have WhatsApp, and sometimes they chat with them from time to time. So it happened that when I asked certain questions, they were also not really sure what to reply to me, the employees of the tax authority of Oman, because it's history in the making, basically. They are changing the laws and regulations right now, and there are certain questions which they couldn't answer themselves. But it seems it's getting better, actually. I can see more and more regulations, more explanations, more guides. So I think we'll get there. Can you share free zone companies at tab along with the visa cost, especially the visa cost for the owner and others if applied? So yeah, as I said, we have an offer if you set up a company in Salalah free zone, all inclusive. So it will be this flexi-desk rent for 3 years. It will be your license. It will be membership in Chamber of Commerce, your ID for 2 years, bank account opening, all support during these procedures. That's $27,000 for the first 3 years. So in Oman, again, I'll repeat it, maybe you were not here from the start, since the flexi desk, so it's like your small office, has to be rented for 3 years upfront. It's not only in one free zone, it's actually in all of them, pretty much. We think it's more reasonable to consider just, a lump sum amount for everything for 3 years upfront, because anyway, the rent of an office or a flexi desk is always the most expensive if you take the breakdown of all the fees. So it's $27,000 for the first 3 years, then the next 3 years, around $15,000 again, for a 3-year slot. Yeah, so first 3 years, 1 year costs you $9,000, if you want to put it this way. Next 3 years, 1 year will cost you $5,000. Okay, yeah, I think I've replied that. So let's see if you have any more questions. Yeah, I think, yeah, so far we've had 23 questions, quite a lot, actually. And I'm happy you're so active, because it means you're genuinely listening to what I'm trying to say here. Let's see. In any case, if you happen to have any question later on, if you forgot to ask something now, go ahead and use the link in the description to this webinar, and our team will get in touch. Everybody will be happy to support you. We have English-speaking team, we have Russian-speaking team. So people will guide you. If you need any of my personal advice or answers, also go ahead through the link, and you'll be guided to me. We can have a personal chat or a call somewhere next week, so we can discuss in more details, because I know every business is different and every story is a bit different. Actually, there are no solutions that fit all, absolutely. But what I can see that Oman can pretty much be an added benefit to a lot of businesses, to a lot of structures, you know, because of mostly it's banking and tax-free benefits. These are the two major things, apart from the other nice thingies which we discussed. Okay, there's one more question. Okay, just, yeah, some letters are missing. Minimum MOR for the 2-year property visa, can you get home loan for that? Okay, you mean what's the minimum amount for a 2-year visa? Well, actually, with certain developers, there is no minimum amount. If you buy the cheapest unit, you will get a 2-year property visa anyway. So you can buy a studio, you can buy a 1-bedroom for, I don't know, 50,000 Omani riyals, and you will get a 2-year visa. Speaking about loan and mortgage, well, yes, banks do have mortgage facilities, definitely, but I think it works the same way everywhere. To get mortgage, you need to demonstrate certain income to the bank. So first, you need to open a bank account, then you need to start getting some salary or other type of income to that bank account, do it for 4, 5, 6 months, and then apply for mortgage. Also, don't forget that mortgage will apply only for completed properties. So if you are investing into off-plan property, you cannot get mortgage on that. And then again, you cannot open a bank account if you don't have a residency card. So first you need to get a residency card somehow. And if you want to get it on the property, you need to buy property. Or, as we're discussing, maybe you want to open a company, because anyway, it's the cheapest way to get into the Oman market. Once you open company, you get the ID, get your bank accounts, start having some transactions, and yeah, probably you'll be good to go for mortgage. Why not? Facility is there. Yeah. Home loan. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So if you want, also contact our team. We can give you more guidance, and they can answer your questions regarding home loan. But as I said, your bank account should be there first in order to speak about home loan after that. Yeah. All right. Okay. So perfect. 24 questions, almost 1 hour we've been talking. I'm really happy, and probably let's give it another minute before we wrap up. And as I said again, feel free, contact us anytime. If you're in UAE, come to our office. Taking this chance, let me announced that we moved to a new office in Expo City, Dubai. So you are very welcome to come to meet us here, to have a face-to-face meeting and a consultation. Otherwise, use any means of communication that's more convenient for you. We're happy to help. Okay, probably last question for today from Sergey. What about the company bank accounts? Is it possible to pay from Russia? Is it hard to open the bank account for the Russian passport holders? Sergey, we will send you actually a link. I had a webinar in Russian language as well. We've touched this topic there quite a lot. But in a nutshell, yes, you can open bank accounts with Russian passport. You can open company and get Oman ID with Russian passport. There are no prejudices against Russian passports. The bank will not take longer time to open account for Russian holders. The bank will not be asking more documents from a Russian passport holder compared to Swiss passport holder or any other Western passport. It will be the same, and the time frame will be the same, 3 to 7 working days. You'll have your account up and running. To pay from Russia, I've done it. Yes, certain banks in Russia have correspondent accounts in Omani Rials. So I was receiving Omani Rials from Russia to Oman. I was also receiving dollars from Russia to Oman. So far, successful. But let's see how it develops. Nothing is forever, but so far, yes, it was all possible, and this option is a workable option. Contact us, we'll explain to you more. Okay, perfect then. So I think the time is over. Time to say goodbye. Always sorry to say goodbye, but I hope we meet again. Our next webinar is most likely going to be about UAE taxes and about possible ways of tax optimization. So stay tuned and see you soon. Thank you very much for coming. Bye.